what's up out there, everybody? Thank you guys, as always, for taking the time to swing by the channel. I hope you're all having a great one out there. Today here, we're diving into Season 2 of Warrior, coming to Cinemax on October 2nd. This review, of course, will be spoiler-free. I won't be diving into the specifics of character arcs or plot points. This is just going to be a generalized review of what the season delivered for me and how it stacked up to a phenomenal Season 1, so let's get into it.
Come and find me.
Very quickly, for those not familiar with this show, it's set in San Francisco during the Tong Wars of the late 1800s. The focal character, Assam, is a martial arts genius who works for the Hopaway Tong. The overarching story in this series follows the turf war between the different Tongs. It also explores political maneuvering during the era, and it examines the employment shortages as Irish and Chinese immigrants struggle for work. Chinese labor is cheaper. This is more important than hiring American workers, and this is of course going to lead to a great deal of just social tension overall. I would say that sort of is the premise in a nutshell overall, although it's much more layered than that when you get down to it. I thought Season 1 was fantastic, and with its blend of character appeal, story intrigue, and fantastic martial arts action, it completely had me hooked. I think Season 2 picks up right where things left off, and it was about as solid as a follow-up season can get because I thought it was awesome on every level. I love the emotional drama that Season 2 delivered. I love the continuation of the characters. I thoroughly enjoyed how, in addition to seeing the advancement of the main characters, we were also able to learn more about some of those familiar faces who I thought were very pivotal back in Season 1, who up until now had backstories that were a little bit mysterious. Now, I know a story is all fun and good, but the main draw to this series is the action, which once again was phenomenal. I mean, somehow they managed to ramp up the fight choreography to even more appealing levels. The fight sequences were plentiful, they were visceral, woven into the story so that they meant something, and they showcased just fever-pitched, emotionally intense showdowns with insane moves that I thought were pulled off flawlessly from the cast and the stunt personnel, and I loved every second of it. And I think what I loved the most was, like last season, the fight sequences here were not a one-trick pony. I mean, from the swordplay to the knife work, down to the style of fighting from different people, there never was a dull moment when the fists and the feet and the weapons were flying. The camera work as well was just impressive, and being able to constantly put the viewer right where they needed to be to feel that brunt impact of the violence, and the editing was nice and fluid to kind of give everything a violent elegance. However, despite the spectacle of it all, it wasn't overdone to the point where special effects or wire work was clearly used. This was able to keep that gritty vibe of Season 1 intact, and that realism is what can pull you into the chaos of each scene here in Season 2. Because I would have to say the skill set of the cast is one of the strongest parts of this show, with so many performers being able to both develop their characters on the acting side, in addition to pulling off the fight choreography. You just don't get that disconnect you often feel when camera work has to mask over stunt doubles. Here, you get to see the characters during their normal scenes, and when it flows right into the action-filled violence, you naturally feel that tension increase because you kind of have that investment in the character. You're taking that ride with them. You can actually see them fighting for their lives, and that connection to the character is what makes the fighting in this series mean something. It makes you fear for them, and that's exactly the sort of emotional intrigue you want in a show like this. So I would say if you enjoyed the action in Season 1, buckle up, because Season 2 doesn't simply give you more of the same, it just absolutely takes it to the next level in all the ways you want without ever feeling over the top. I mean, you get plenty of one-on-one showdowns, more than enough one-on-many showdowns. There are plenty of large-scale set pieces as well, and with the show that delivers so much appealing drama on the writing side, the great action here is really just icing on the cake. Because the story is pretty solid. It evolves and it continues nicely from Season 1. I would go as far as to say that even without all the martial arts and the bloody hand-to-hand carnage, that there is still a compelling time period drama here that's more than enough to take you back to Frisco in the late 1800s. There are just many moving parts and many layers to this story that are constantly moving forward, so between all the fantastic bloody battles is a story that's going to have you invested in the many turns and repercussions that it explores. I would say this series does many things right, but I think there are 4 things that make it a great series and another amazing season. We already spoke on the talented cast who are able to create appealing characters that you can love, you can hate, you can feel concerned for, with some who have mysterious motives and secrets, with many who can visibly kick ass and pull off incredibly appealing choreography. The next great thing about this series, to me at least, would be the writing from top to bottom. I mean, the characters, the world building, being able to maneuver many subplots while still maintaining a smooth flow from episode to episode. This script pulled it off for me. I mean, sure, it's a tad melodramatic in places, but to me that's all part of the fun when you're playing around in a hyper reality such as this one. Next up, and easily the best thing about this series, of course, would be the action and the fight choreography. To me, there wasn't a single showdown that didn't have me up in my seat, and it never felt excessive. This is just a world during a time when society is on the verge of lawlessness, so routine back alley fights and confrontation between enemies was commonplace, and the fight choreography was perfect for this hyper-violent setting, and like I said, I loved every bone-crunching minute of it. And the final thing that I think really sets this series apart would be just the production design overall, down to the wardrobing and the makeup work. I mean, all of these aspects were flawless. The detail in the wardrobes capture both that aged look as well as a more contemporary vibe. The makeup was very visually appealing and detailed. It was all subtle, but it gives the entire series an edginess and a style that I think fit the tone of the story perfectly. And the detail in the production design was fantastic. It was able to create that needed atmosphere to just pull you as the viewer back into the era. Scenes just have a nice flow to them as the characters move about this constructed city. I thought it was incredibly immersive. The detail in the backdrops just feels tangible, like you can taste it and smell it and feel the stones and mud under your feet as characters move about. And from interior set designs to outdoor shots, it's just immaculate with detail, nicely realistic, and visually appealing for each minute. And in the end, this season really gave me all I wanted, and I'm going to give Season 2 of Warrior 100% on the meter. It adds new characters that quickly begin to leave their imprint on things. The story is going to take you on a ride of emotions, and the timing of the writing will routinely have you clamoring to see the next episode. I'm sure I may love this series more than others. I'm definitely drinking the Kool-Aid, but I thought it was perfect. It also fits in some nicely timed homages to Bruce Lee that were actually fit into the story without feeling like fan service, and I can't wait for Season 3. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I'd love to talk movies with you guys. Share it with your friends, and without question, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can never miss a video. Here are some links to some recent reviews just in case you missed them. All my social media links and the link to our official website are down in the description below, and I'll catch you next time.